Have you ever noticed your crush or girlfriend getting arrogant and cold after some time? Then you felt hurt, confused, and didn't know what to do. Well, everything happens for a reason. There was a time I thought giving more meant loving better. I was always there for her, replying the second she texted, saying yes even when I was dead tired, doing little favors I didn't feel like doing, just to be close, just to prove I cared. I thought that's what love was. I thought I was doing it right. But I wasn't, until I walked away. And everything changed. Here's what really happens when a man walks away, and why. First, let me explain why this happens in the first place. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It starts slow, like a quiet leak in a boat you didn't even know was sinking. At first, you're just being kind, present. You think loyalty means availability. She texts you at midnight, you reply at 12:01. She asks for a favor, you say yes, even if it drains your last ounce of energy. You cancel your plans, move your schedule around, just to be closer. And every time you say yes when you wanted to say no, a small part of you dies. Not because love is wrong, but because your fear is louder than your dignity. You fear losing her. And she feels that. She may not say it, but she senses it, deep in her subconscious, the way a predator senses weakness. Not because she's evil, but because psychology works like gravity. Whether you believe in it or not, it still pulls. See, when you're too available, too responsive, too eager, you become predictable. And predictability is the death of desire. When a woman senses that you're not a challenge anymore, that she has you no matter how she treats you, something in her rewires. She may still like you, she may still care, but respect? That begins to fade. And when respect fades, affection follows. You don't even realize the shift when it starts, because it's silent. No arguments, no obvious signs, just colder replies. Delayed texts, less effort. She stops trying, because deep down, she doesn't feel the need to. Now let me tell you what she feels when you walk away, and trust me, you will understand the power of self-respect in silence. When you take this step, something magical happens. You step back, not to punish her, not to play games, but because you're tired of feeling like a backup plan in your own story. You stop texting first. You stop chasing. You stop bending. You reclaim your spine, and suddenly the silence becomes deafening for her. She's so used to the rhythm of your presence, the melody of your good mornings, your emotional check-ins, your loyalty. Now there's only silence, and silence is brutal. She starts overthinking. Why isn't he chasing me? Did he finally move on? Was I wrong thinking he'd always be there? She may not say a word. She may post like everything's fine, but in her mind, there's a storm. Because the man she thought she could put on hold just left the building. And she doesn't know if he's coming back. That uncertainty, it hits different. Because now, you're the mystery. Now you are the one she can't predict. And for the first time in a long time, she feels your absence more than she ever appreciated your presence. But this story, it's not really about her. It's about you. It is about waking up to the truth that you done to earn love by abandoning yourself. You don't gain respect by shrinking your voice. You don't win someone's heart by handing them yours on a silver plate and begging them not to drop it. Walking away doesn't mean you stopped caring. It means you finally started caring about yourself. Because self-respect isn't selfish. It's the foundation of any love worth having. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "Never depend on the admiration of others. There is no strength in it." Personal merit cannot be derived from external validation. And that's the code. You were never supposed to lose yourself to keep someone else. You were supposed to find yourself and let the right people meet you there. So remember this. Sometimes the most powerful thing a man can say is nothing at all. Not out of pride. Not out of spite, but because the version of you who begged has finally evolved into the man who chooses. Let's discuss the stages she goes through when you walk away It doesn't hit her all at once. It comes in waves, subtle, quiet, but powerful. First confusion. Why is he pulling back? She feels it before she understands it. The change in your energy. The space you've created. At first, she doesn't panic. She assumes you'll come back like always. But you don't. Then ego damage. How dare he walk away from me? This isn't just about you. It's about her reflection in the mirror of your absence. She was so sure you were safe, emotionally locked in, a constant. Now that certainty is gone. And for someone used to holding power without effort, that bruises her pride. Not because she loved having you, but because she hated the idea of losing the option of you. Next to reflection. She starts remembering the nights you stayed up just to listen. The times you noticed what she didn't say. The way you saw her, really saw her, when others just skimmed the surface. Memories flood in, not just of your presence, but of your consistency, of your kindness, your patience, your effort, and finally, regret. Or at the very least, curiosity. She begins asking the question she never thought she'd ask. Did I take him for granted? If there was real connection between you, even if it was buried under her confusion or immaturity, this is where she begins to feel it again. Not because you reminded her, but because you left. And now, there's space for the truth to echo. Let's now talk about the moment she realizes your value. This moment is quiet, but sharp. It comes when another man enters her life and simply doesn't treat her like you did. He might have the charm, the looks, the attention, but he lacks your depth. He doesn't check in when she's quiet. He doesn't remember her favorite song. He doesn't offer the emotional stability you carried like a lighthouse in her storm. That's when it hits. He didn't treat me the way he did. And just like that, the pedestal she thought she was on, it vanishes. She compares. Not because she wants to, but because she can't help it. And now, you're not the one chasing. She is. But here's the catch, it might be too late. Because the version of you who was once available at her fingertips has become the man she can't quite reach anymore. And that is the silent power of walking away. But what happens to her and you after you chose to walk away? Her, she might never say a word, but she watches. She stalks your social media late at night, casually asks a mutual friend how you're doing. She sends that random text, "Hey, I saw something that reminded me of you." It's never about the thing, it's about the wound. But she won't say that. You feel stronger, clearer, like stepping out of a fog you didn't know you were in. You begin to notice how light peace feels. You finally understand the love you were trying to earn. It was always supposed to come after self-respect, not before. You don't feel bitter, just free. Because walking away didn't give you control over her. It gave you control over yourself. And if this was not enough, remember that the strongest and most respected men didn't come from nowhere. They rose after they felt on rock bottom from same situations. Lastly, I want to explain how to walk away with self-respect and when to do it. Let's be clear. Walking away doesn't mean ghosting. It means detaching your energy. You don't need to make a speech. You don't need to post about it. You just stop chasing. You stop proving. Stop pleasing. And you start building you, your fitness, your craft, your finances, your mental strength. You let the silence speak for you. And if she comes back, you don't let loneliness make the decision. You ask yourself, do I even want her? Or was I just addicted to the idea of being wanted? Because now, it's no longer about getting her back. It's about getting yourself back. Before ending the video, let me express my final thoughts. Walking away isn't weakness. It's power in its purest form. Because it takes strength to love someone deeply and still choose yourself when that love turns into self-sacrifice. Done right, it restores your masculinity. It sharpens your focus. It anchors you in your own value, not theirs. Sometimes the only way to make her feel your worth is to leave her with your absence. So if you've been chasing, proving, pleasing, pause. Not because you want to lose her, but because you're done losing yourself. When you walk away from what doesn't value you, you don't just leave behind a woman. You walk straight into the man you were meant to become.